We begin with some breaking news coming through in the last hour or so. Nigeria's military has announced the death of Abu Musab al-Barnawi, the head of the West African branch of the Islamic State group. Confirming the news, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Irabo, said, quote, "He is dead and remains dead." General Irabo did not give any details of the circumstances of Barnawi's death, which was first reported in September. The Islamic State West Africa Province, or Iswap, has not commented on the claims either. Iswap has been seen as the strongest jihadist group in Nigeria since the death of Boko Haram leader Abubakar Shekau earlier this year. Since then, thousands of Boko Haram fighters have surrendered both to the military and reportedly to Iswap. Well, for more on this, let's cross live now and join defense and security analyst Dr. Kabiru Adamu, who is also the CEO of Beacon Consulting, a security firm in West Africa. Dr. Adamu, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Do we have any further details about the circumstances of al-Barnawi's death, which I believe was originally reported in September or thereabouts?
Yes, Charles. Good evening. So it was in late August and early September that the information regarding the possibility of the death of al-Barnawi filtered through. And then since then, there were attempts to verify the death, and the usual channel through which the group releases such reports did not feature the announcement of his death. So as an example, the media platforms owned by IS, as well as other platforms that are affiliated with it, did not report that on that death. The military too, shied away from making any comments. So it was really surprising today that the Chief of Defense Staff confirmed the death, even though, like you indicated, the military did not present any further facts to indicate this is how they confirmed the death or not. But we have to remember that in the last few months, the intensity of the fratricidal conflict between the two major groups in the Lake Chad region, the Islamic State in West Africa province and the Jamaat al-Ahl Sunnah al-Wati wal Jihad, has intensified. Of course, we know that one of the major developments from that fratricidal conflict was the death of Abubakar Shekau, and then of course after that several of his commanders. So it's likely that this is a continuation of that conflict between the two groups, and of course the intensity of the attacks by the Nigerian military against these two groups.
And in terms of background, Iswap is now said to be the strongest jihadist group in Nigeria. What is the apparent death of al-Barnawi likely to do to the strength and clout of Iswap?
So first off, he was appointed the Amir in 2016 when Shekau was deposed, and then he led till around for about 2 years, 2018. And then he was removed, someone else was appointed, and then more recently, just before his death, he was appointed again as an interim Amir. So clearly, he's got some followership within the group itself. However, a certain element of the group saw him as weak and pliant. They wanted a Shekau-like kind of leader who was ruthless and who could deliver the message in the manner they understood it. And so his absence, as it were, right now, seemed to have divided the group. And just today, the Nigerian military alluded to the fact that about 13,000 members of both the Jamaat al-Ahl Sunnah wal Jihad and the Islamic State in West Africa province, as well as their families, have surrendered so far to the Nigerian military. Now, if this is a reflection of the death of both Shekau and the death of Abu Musab al-Barnawi, then clearly the two groups appear to be suffering from some form of transition challenges. Now, we also know, and this is on the side of the restructuring of Iswap, we know that from May, the group attempted to restructure, perhaps knowing very well that something like this could happen. So they currently have about 4 protectorates within the Lake Chad region. And each of these protectorates is headed by an interim commander, or in some instances, they've actually appointed commanders. So they appear well-footed in terms of the transition and the outcome of the consequence of the possible death of Abu Musab al-Barnawi. The other element, which is also very significant, is they are strategizing. In the very recent past, we've seen instances where they are attempting to attack military formations, especially the forward operating bases, which is what they were doing in 2018 when Abu Musab Barnawi was heading the group. So in a general sense, the group is still active despite the absence of its leader.
Okay, we appreciate your bringing us up to date. Dr. Kabiru Adamu is, of course, a defense and security analyst and CEO of the West African security firm Beacon Consulting, and he was talking to me, updating us on the news that incontrovertibly the Nigerian army has confirmed the death of the leader of the Islamic State West Africa province, al-Barnawi.